Welcome to the Living Sanctuary Podcast, where we explore the invisible laws of nature that shape our visible worlds, one root system at a time. I'm your host, Dr. Candace Nadine Breen.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Living Sanctuary Podcast. So today we are here with Cathy Nesbitt, whose work, extraordinary work, teaches us that living things require healthy, specific, untampered soil ecosystems to truly survive and thrive. Welcome, Cathy. Thank you for joining us this evening.
I'm excited to be here, Candace. Thank you. I love the name of your podcast. It's awesome. Yeah.
Thanks so much. It's so great. It's so great to have you on the show. So as a global laughter ambassador, you also work heavily with individuals navigating intense stress, transition, and emotional burnout. So from a metaphysical perspective, how do we identify when our personal environment or internal soil has become toxic or dense? And what are the precise psychological steps we must take to repot ourselves and reclaim our personal peace in the bright light of day? I know that's a big question, but I think you can handle it.
Oh, I absolutely can. Yeah, I love it. And I really love the title of this episode as well. The soil of the soul. It really struck me when I received your information. I was like, oh my gosh, you really thought everything through, and I'm just thrilled, Candace. So, I think we know when we're in tune with how we feel. We know when we're feeling like when something's not right. And I would say literally our poo stinks worse.
I like that.
If I may, because we feel, pardon me, but we feel shitty, and like our stomach might even be gurgling when we're off. There's so many signs that things are not okay in our world. We don't often pay attention to the signs unless we're tapped in, and we are paying attention. Things we can do, oh my gosh, something so simple as going out with bare feet and putting your feet on the grass or the sand, if you're close to the ocean or a lake, in the water, so that we can literally get grounded with the energy of the earth and calm down, just calm down our nervous system. The more I'm in this work, the more I realize our prime objective is managing our nervous system.
I like that, managing our nervous system. And can you give an example, like for our listeners who may not understand what it actually looks like to manage your nervous system? What is something that we can do to try to, because we have this stress all the time. I had it when I was coming home with, traffic and people, traffic and people just not moving and all sorts of things, and it can be stressful, and I felt my whole body get tense, and I just wasn't in a good place. So how can we, as just going about life, what's something that we could do to try to manage our nervous system in various situations?
So many things. And as you said, we're living in this stressful state where we've made stress a badge of honor. We've normalized stress in such a way that it's really difficult for us to experience joy anymore. We're not sleeping properly. We're not eating properly. We're not digesting. We're breathing shallow, like we're panting, because when we're in stress, blood lymph oxygen leaves our frontal lobe and goes into our muscles so we can escape the situation, even if we're escaping from our mind. Some simple things we can do: breath. Breath is something that's accessible. It's right there. We just need to stop, take a beautiful, nice, long, deep breath in through our nose if possible, hold it, and then release. And if we release if the exhale is longer than the inhale, we're expanding our lung capacity and calming down our nervous system in an instant. We also, something else we can do is hum it out. So we breathe in and then hum it out. Hum one low tone. And that also helps to regulate our nervous system. Humming is a beautiful thing. We can laugh. You mentioned about traffic. Traffic is stressful. I'm located in Canada, so depending where you are, maybe you have snow. If you have snowy conditions, it doesn't matter how great of a driver you are, it's stressful when the weather's bad, right? Something that I've trained myself, when somebody cuts you off, it's never personal. Their lane ran out or they were distracted somehow. When you cut somebody off, you're always looking in your rearview mirror. When someone cuts me off, I'm like, oh, it's not personal, but we get mad, we take it personal, rah, we get angry. Instead, I say, oh, time to do laughter yoga, and I flail my arm around. I'm still driving, my tongue's out, I'm laughing, ah ha ha ha. The person ahead of me is looking, and they're like, they think I'm cuckoo, so I get more space. Mean- Meanwhile, I'm secreting all the love drugs, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, the love drugs, the happy hormones versus cortisol, adrenaline, epinephrine when we're stressed.
I like that. I like that you flail your arms and then you get you get more space. I think that's so fantastic. That's amazing. People are probably like, "Oh my goodness, let me stay away from her." You know. But
Absolutely. What do I care?
right, indeed, indeed. So I think that's excellent. So, all right, let's talk about vermicomposting. So, for our nationwide listeners who are cultivating their own indoor sanctuaries, how do vermicomposting, if I'm not saying it right, let me know, and organic worm castings directly transform the air quality and energetic vibe of a home compared to using like standard chemical or synthetic fertilizers?
This is a multifaceted answer. First of all, when we're composting, we're taking time, we're slowing down. If we've got worms and we love them, so this is indoor composting with worms that I'm promoting. We could really get attached to the worms. We start to love them. And so we chop up the food, which takes time. We're not on our technology when we're tending to the worms. That fertilizer that we create, the worm castings, aka worm poo or black gold. Yes, please. That's just on an aside, I do a lot of school workshops, and when it comes time to talk about the castings. I dip my hands in this bucket of castings, and I hold it up and I say, "Oh my gosh, I've got a handful of worm poo." And some of the students will go, "Ew, poo," and I go, "Ooh!" I quickly drop it and I go, "Ooh, poo! What was I thinking?" And I go, "Words are interesting. If we call it poo, then we just want to flush it away. It's garbage. Like get rid of that." I say to them, what if we call this black gold? And I hold it up, I grab it, I cherish it, and I say, now it's precious. It was always precious, but it depends how we label it. So when we say black gold, which it is because it's premium plant food that we're creating from our own food scraps, Candace, it's closing the loop on our garbage cycle. Like we eat, we throw the scraps away, we go to the store, we buy more food. What if we could turn those scraps into something usable, plant food, grow a little bit of food, even if you don't have a garden? If you have a window, you could grow some herbs, you could grow some lettuce. So that on the one side, it helps us slow down. It helps to purify the air because the compost is taking the stink out of the air. It's kind of like a natural air freshener, if you will. So that's one thing. And it also on the outside is reducing the fossil fuels, like for the garbage truck picking up all this stuff and hauling it away. That step is missing now. Now we don't have that piece.
I like how you talk about worms. Myself being a master gardener years ago when my kids were in elementary school, I did their their garden because I was assigned to that particular site. And I remember talking to the kids, these little elementary students, talking to them about worm poop and saying how important it was. And because one of the students saw a worm and said, "Ew, a worm," and he was going to try to kill it. And I said, "Don't do that. No, worms are important. Their poo is good for our food and blah blah blah." So I talked about worms too in a way, and I just think that worms, they're just so peaceful if you look at them, how they move, very slowly, and they're just I just think of them as peaceful workers, giving us a great benefit. And we can learn a lot from worms. We can learn a lot from nature, period. But in this case, worms especially.
Yeah, I've learned a lot. I joke and I say if we ate like worms, we would poop like worms. Meaning we wouldn't spend hours, in the washroom with a book. Like I don't know who does that, man. And I'm not, I mean the worms eat food scraps and paper. I'm not advocating for eating rotting food and paper. But if we had more fiber in our diet, if we ate more natural food, plant-based diet, and less processed food, we would be happier people. We would be healthier. Yeah, on so many levels, this has taught me so many things.
Right, and because when we eat processed foods, our bodies are actually suffering because they're stressed out trying to process it themselves and trying to digest the food. So we're not that adds to us, not being happy, to being stressed out constantly, and all that. So again, we can learn a lot from nature. We just have to look up or look around and slow down and see it.
Yeah, I
So
just had a thought like when we feel sluggish, like a slug versus a worm that, kind of wiggles around and looks happy. The slug's like blink, blink, blink. That when we feel sluggish, right? Our system is sluggish. Like, wow, it's whew, after all these years, still new things.
always
Thank
you
you.
can always learn something new, right? All right. So you often speak about how indoor seed sprouting adds immediate life to our daily routines. So when a person is walking through like a major life transition, like a relocation or a season of starting over, like I have done so many times, how can the simple daily act of nurturing a tray of fresh sprouts, and I love sprouts, how can a tray of fresh sprouts help re-anchor one's focus and build personal resilience?
Mm. Oh, I mean, sprouts are nature's superfood. They're fast, nature's original fast food. They grow in a day or two, so super fresh. They're hydrating, alkalizing, regenerative, biogenic, and contain up to 100 times more digestive enzymes. Those were all big fancy words. So when we're dehydrated, when we start to get thirsty, we're already getting dehydrated. So the sprouts are juicy, alkaline in an acidic body. That's where cancer and many diseases can grow. Sprouts are alkaline foods, so they help to balance the pH in our body. Regenerative, so I'll use Alzheimer's or dementia, are degenerative diseases. Sprouts are regenerative. They don't grow back our memories, but they fortify our cells. Biogenic. You might have noticed I have a ton of energy, and you probably do too, Candace. Sprouts are live food. When we're eating live food, we get the energy from the food versus caffeine or sugar or any of the energy drinks that people are consuming today. Anything artificial. As you said, our body needs to process that. So it takes energy to process the food we're eating. If we're giving it good, nutritious food, we feel better. All of the things that I'm offering, the laughter. I say my working title is Cathy Crawley, Laughing Bean Queen.
I love it.
It's simple solutions for today's challenges. So worms for amending the soil, like managing your food scraps, sprouts for eating. Grow your own. When you buy them, they're expensive. They're already going bad, by the way, folks. If they smell bad, they're bad. Throw them out. And so grow your own, and laughter for overall health and wellness. So simple things that we can do, because when we feel good, we do good. And so all of these things are connected. When we're going through any kind of transition or a challenge, we need to stop and take care of ourselves, which is what we do not do. We're like, I got to do that thing. There's no time for me. Look at my list. We need to put us at the top of the list.
No, I like that. I like that. Putting ourselves at the top of the list. I used to grow when I was married and we lived in a house that was way too big for us. True. I had a huge garden, and it was very nice to grow my own food and our own food. And the kids would sometimes, like, my daughter would pick the snap peas right off of if she were outside playing, and she'd go in the garden and she'd pick the snap peas right off the vine and eat them, like, for a little snack, and that made me feel good. And indoors, I would grow sprouts all the time, and I still, now I'm in the process of moving, not from that big house, but from a different place. I'm in the process of moving, and I fully intend to do it again, to grow sprouts again, because indoors, where I'm moving, it's a beautiful little duplex that has tons of windows, and I feel so great about it, because I'm a person who loves the sunlight, and I just come alive with sunlight, and I think of things growing with sunlight as well. The plant lady here, so things grow. And I learned so much from being in touch with our natural environment, and I also learned the importance of, like you just mentioned, putting yourself at the top of the list to take care of yourself. Forget the list, because you can't do the list if you're not well. So you have to take care of yourself, or you're not going to get anything accomplished anyway. And running a business, I have had to stop myself many times and say, I just don't have it in me. I cannot do all this stuff, because I'll make a list of what I'm going to accomplish during the week, and there'll come a point where I'm done. I've said, I have no energy, and then that's when I get excited about the next morning, because I go for my 2-mile walk every single morning, and I get excited because no one else is up when I'm out, and the sun is just rising, and especially now that the seasons have changed, there's a little blush in the sky, even at 5 o'clock in the morning, which is when I'm outside anyway. And it's just beautiful, and I'll see, like, bunnies and deer and all sorts of things walking and running and crawling around, and it's just, I learn something from them every single time. And it's a beautiful thing to grow with the seasons, to grow with everything, the changes in the environment, the natural changes, and it's just, and building personal resilience comes from all of this. Noticing what's going on. I've gone through many things, and I know many people have as well, or are going through stuff right now. And when we think the worst, that we can't do it anymore, what we have to do is just look around us. Look at the plants. Look at the plants that, irises. I grew so many irises in my garden, and they multiplied. In February, I could go outside in the garden, and I could see them sticking up right through the snow. I could see them start to stick. And I would go out in February, and if there were no snow and the ground was manageable enough, I'd go out there and split them and then replant them, because when the spring would come, when they would grow up, they wouldn't have a difficult time. So look at the iris. They come up through the snow and the cold, and they're beautiful in the spring when they get through this season of coldness and all of that. There's darkness, they come back beautiful and vibrant and strong. So that's what I take from my irises, and I had a lot of irises, and they were so beautiful. So and the same, like when I spoke about learning, when I mentioned about learning from worms, and you mentioned about slugs. And you know, it's I mean, we can have this indoor sanctuary, you know, right inside ourselves. We don't have to look for it. It's already there. It's already there.
We
so
are
on that,
bugs.
Yeah. Right. So anything else you'd like to share with us about the work that you do that we could learn from, or gain some knowledge, or share something?
You know, I just think during this time where we really have a global mental health tsunami, so as much as I want people to care about the planet, when we're in a mental crisis, it's not possible. So I really want people to take care of themselves and to ask what is important, what do I really want to do, and talking about nature. You know, I attend a Qigong class, and the Qigong master often says, nature never hurries, but everything gets done. And that's the truth. You know, I think that's the thing, is we're like, oh my gosh, I got to do all these things. If we just slow down, we're the one that made the list, so we can cross off some of the things or delegate to somebody else. We really need to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of the other.
I like it. I like that phrase too, that quote. I'm going to use that quote. I
It's
like
beautiful,
it.
eh?
It
Yeah.
is. I like that. Yeah, I need to think of that more. All right. So, I know you're so busy and you're doing a lot of stuff, and you're teaching and spreading your goodness around. But if our listeners want to learn more about what it is you do, or contact you, or just be in your presence, how can they get in touch with you?
I would love to invite you and your listeners to my free online laughter club. It's every Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 30 minutes of super fun self-care. I do incorporate tapping, brain gym, qigong, and more. They can find information at cathysclub.com. If they want to know about worms, it's cathy'scomposters.com, and about the sprouts, it's cathysprouters.com. And all of my offerings are just simple things for us to just be more present. I think just to be nicer, so we can just feel good and do good, because the world needs more do-gooders.
That is the truth. All right, Cathy, thank you so much for being on our show. And I will put all your links in the show notes, and we'll get that out there so everyone can get in touch with you and can laugh and feel good.
Thank you, Candace. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Cathy. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Living Sanctuary podcast. Keep your boundaries firm, your soil well aerated, and I will see you at the counter or at our next episode. Be well.
All right, Cathy.